of the night. We're going to start with NBA midseason awards. We've hit that halfway point. We got the All-Star game coming up this weekend. So it's getting around that time to talk about who are the best players at this point in the season. So obviously we got to start with most valuable player. Who do you have, Artie?
I'm going to go with LeBron James here, averaging 27.6 points, 8.1 boards, 6.8 assists, just leading the Heat to the best record in the NBA. And a lot of people argue that, if you took him off the team, they wouldn't be that great. I mean, they'd still be that great. Well, when you take Wade off the team, they're still 8-1, which proves LeBron James how valuable he is to that team. So, and he is the most complete player in the NBA, and he's shown it this first half of the season. Oh, yeah,
absolutely. LeBron James is far and away the best player right now in the NBA. Nobody can touch him right now. His points per game at 27.6 is third in the league. His field goal percentage is 6th, but it's the first. He has the top field goal percentage of players who are not centers. His assists per game are the first for a non-point guard at 6.8. He's far and away the best player in the league. Nobody can touch him right now. He's doing it all. He's scoring. He's getting rebounds. He's scoring efficiently. He's getting steals, assists. He's playing great defense, and I do agree. I think the Heat would be good, but I don't think they would be as good if they didn't have LeBron James.
Absolutely. So now that we talk about the best player in the league, they had a pretty decent rookie class this year, I'd say. So, Jordan, how about Rookie of the Year? Who you got?
Rookie of the Year. Well, I'm going to go away from what most people say, and I'm going to say Ricky Rubio, point guard of the Minnesota Timberwolves from Spain. It's a couple of years since he's been drafted. This year, he finally decided to come over from Spain. I mean, look, Kyrie Irving is having a terrific season, and no question about it, the Cavaliers would not be as good as they are without him. He is the sole reason that they are in position for a playoff spot. And I will say this before I go into Ricky Rubio: if they do make the playoffs, I will have to change my answer to Kyrie Irving because he will be Rookie of the Year. But Ricky Rubio is more. His season's been more complete than Kyrie Irving. He's not scoring as many points. He's only scoring 11.3 points per game. That's 5th among rookies. But he also leads all rookies in assists per game, steals per game, and double doubles with 11. That shows that he's consistently night in and night out scoring and dishing out assists. All right, his rebounds at 4 is a respectable 4.3. The only thing that could be better is his shooting percentage, which is 38% from the field, 35% from the three-point. Kyrie Irving is playing great, but also Ricky Rubio's team was the 2nd overall pick, and I believe that he is a huge reason why they are at 500 right now, and after their winning percentage last season was 20.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt that Rubio's really helped turn around the Timberwolves organization alongside Kevin Love, and they also have a great player in Derek Williams who's coming up. So, but for me, I'm going with Kyrie Irving, 18.1 points per game, 15.1 assists, and like we've been talking about, he really turned around the Cavs organization this year. They were so bad to watch. And he's really brought some more excitement back to the city of Cleveland, which is in dire need of some excitement when it comes to sports. So I'd definitely go with him for now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Kyrie Irving is having a terrific season. But, also you could say that Ricky Rubio has a lot more talent around him. But, I think Ricky Rubio, I think that the points per game that Kyrie Irving is putting up is great, but he's just not doing it, outside of scoring. He's not dishing out as many assists. He's not getting, I guess I can't really say rebounds because he is a point guard. But, I also don't see the consistency, which I see from Ricky Rubio's double-doubles.
Uh-huh.
All right, now I'm going to go back to, we talked about the most valuable player in the league, but I want to ask you, which player has been the biggest disappointment to you, who you expected so much from and really hasn't produced?
I think Carmelo Anthony's the answer to that one. Everything looked so up for the Knicks at the beginning of the year. And before we got swamped with the whole insanity, the matter of the fact was the Knicks were not playing well whatsoever. D'Antoni was looking like he was going to get fired, that type of thing. Lynn came along, saved everyone from that. But Carmelo has been extremely disappointing to all Knicks fans, and I'm not even a Knicks fan, and it's been pretty disappointing for me to see his performance this year. So I'm going to go with Carmelo Anthony. How about you, Jordan?
I'm actually have to go with Lamar Odom. He was the sixth man of the year last year, and this year he's shooting 35.7% from the field. He only has 4.5 rebounds per game, 1.7 assists per game. His player efficiency rating is 9.75, and that ranks 272nd out of 339. I mean, he was a sixth man of the year last year. He was brought into Dallas to be that same player that he was in LA, and he really just hasn't been able to do that. And welcome back to Sports Talk with Tall and Small. We were just discussing some mid-season NBA awards, so we're going to get right back to that. Ari, what were we getting ready to talk about?
We were about to talk about Defensive Player of the Year. We were talking a little bit about offensive, so let's flip the page a little and talk about defensive. So who you got for Defensive Player of the Year thus far, Jordan?
Look, honestly, I got to go with Dwight Howard. He has won it the past 3 years in a row. The numbers just speak for themselves. 15.4 rebounds a game, ranking the top of the league. 11.7 of those are defensive. 2.1 blocks per game. 1.4 steals. He's having once again a tremendous defensive season.
I'm gonna go with the same. Dwight Howard as well. 15.4 boards, almost 2 blocks. I mean, then they should start considering renaming the award after him. I mean, he's so dominant that. I mean, you just can't think of anyone else. When you hear defensive, you think of him and not many other people.
Yeah, I mean, he really is just a dominant player in the middle there. I mean, you think of other guys like, Tyson Chandler, but they are really just not as good as Dwight Howard. He's so big and athletic, and it's just really hard to score on the matchup inside because of Dwight Howard. And it's going to be really interesting, actually. We're going to talk about it later to see if he is wearing a new uniform either this season or next season. We're going to move on to another award, the Sixth Man of the Year award. Now, we already talked about last year's Sixth Man of the Year before, Lamar Odom. Who do you have this year, now in this season?
I got James Harden. I mean, this guy has been playing so well the past couple years, and everyone knows Fear the Beard, that type thing, so he's become a fan favorite, and his numbers are up there this year. He's got 17 points a game, 3.7 assists, 4 rebounds. He's an electric player. He gets the crowd going in Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a really exciting young team that we'll talk about a little later, but I got James Harden on this one. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I have James Harden too. I mean, he really is good enough to start. But, I just really didn't like having him coming off the bench. But he is really a talented player. He's shooting 47% from the field. He's scoring 6.8 points a game, 4.1 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 37% from three-point range. Really just a big reason of why the Oklahoma City Thunder is one of the most dominant teams, because he headlines a great bench. And I think right now this year, at this point in the season, there's nobody else you can look at as the Sixth Man of the Year. So now, Coach of the Year.
I'm gonna go with Doug Collins of the Philadelphia 76ers. They've jumped out of the gates real fast. Young team once again with veteran leader in Andre Iguodala. Drew Holiday's playing absolutely fantastic this year. They look like they have a lot of upside to come. They're still leading their division, so they'd have the 3 seed behind the Bulls and Heat as of now. So I think that they deserve a lot of credit. He deserves a lot of credit for turning that team around. They didn't make any huge offseason moves. So he's basically taking the same players and just improved upon it from last year to this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Doug Collins is doing a great job there, first place again. And, really a big reason is because their defense, which ranks at the top of the league. And also he's doing it without really a true superstar, no matter,
Absolutely.
There are people that might say Iguodala is a true superstar, but he's really not. He's not up there with LeBron James or Carmelo Anthony.
That's a good point.
But I actually think a guy who might be a better choice for Coach of the Year than Doug Collins is Frank Vogel in Indiana. You might say he has Danny Granger, but Danny Granger again is not on that same level with LeBron James and those guys. But they're Their scoring is 12th in the league. They're 4th in rebounds, and they're 9th in defense. They're second in the Central, but only behind the Chicago Bulls. And they would be first in the Atlantic. They would be beating the 76ers in the Atlantic. So I think two guys who are really just doing a great job. And really, I think the constant with both those teams is depth. Both those teams, they don't really have true superstars, but they are very deep. We see the same thing with Denver, who's having a lot of success out in the Western Conference, where, again, they don't have a true superstar, but they just have a bunch of great role players who are able to work together. And, having a great bench is so important, because for them, when your starters come off, you still have guys who can score. And the Knicks ran into that problem last season.
Absolutely.
By not having a good bench.
So next we're going to talk about most improved player. We've seen a couple of players really burst onto the scene, hint, hint. And then we've seen some guys that, have come from, not out of nowhere, a.k.a. the couch of a teammate.
Right.
But, I mean, there's been some guys that have really come on strong this year, but who you got for most improved player?
Well, Artie, you've been hinting at it. I mean, there is really no other choice besides Jeremy Lin. I mean, Linsanity has just been unbelievable. When all the Knicks were down, the fans were down, and he came in there. He took the Garden by storm, and he revived that team from their season was falling apart. It was over. It seemed like the season was over. D'Antoni's gonna get fired, and teams don't win a championship after their coach gets fired. And he just came in there. He saved D'Antoni's job, and he saved the Knicks season. We'll see where they can go from here. Again, the numbers speak for themselves. In the 10 games he started, 23.8 points a game, 9.4 assists, 3.8 rebounds. He's shooting 49.7% from the field, and he's playing 38 minutes a night.
Yeah, he's really carried the load for them the past couple weeks, and he's came from an absolute nobody to a household name, and that speaks volumes to how good he is. And people get captivated by a guy like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's really captivated the nation, much like Tim Tebow did, and it's really great to see. It's a great story, and you can't mention anyone else's name thinking of most improved player than Jeremy Lin right now.
Yeah, I mean, also, I think Jeremy Lin's also, he's really just been saying all the right things to me. Like, even when he was doing well, always constantly saying, we got to do better, we can do better, and we got to do better. When Melo came back, he said, I understand. When, before even Amari came back, he was saying, I understand that these guys are the primary scorers, and when they come back, I will defer to them, and I will start passing to them. And then even Melo now, I know a lot of Knicks fans are against Carmelo Anthony, but honestly, I think Melo really does want to make this work. I think he's trying to make it work. He said that I want the ball in Jeremy's hands. I want him to be dishing out the ball, because you know what? This is going to make Carmelo Anthony better by having a point guard. We've seen, you said he was the most disappointing player in the league, and that was primarily because he did not have a point guard.
Absolutely.